Let's bring in University of Delaware's Saleem Ali. He specializes in causes and consequences of environmental conflicts. Saleem, thanks for joining us. What we're seeing here isn't really that new, this standoff between the developed and developing countries over who's responsible for what, who can do what, and who needs to pay for what. But are we starting to at least see some breakthroughs in the understanding here?
No, I'm afraid not. There has been clearly a disappointment among those who thought that this would really be a game changer summit. So they're trying to salvage an agreement, given that there's been an impasse around funding, around fossil fuel subsidies. And so ultimately, if you go back to the 2015 Paris Agreement, the targets set forth are not going to be met given what they are proposing in this deal. So it is a disappointment for sure.
Just 3 years ago, COP was held in Poland. It's a major coal producer. And we saw hesitation this year as well from some countries to end coal use. Why?
Well, there's the challenge of baseload power. You need to have specific kinds of energy sources to provide baseload power, which is not possible just with renewables unless you have massive battery infrastructure. So for baseload power, you have either fossil fuels or nuclear, which are the main sources therein. So for the transition, there is a technical challenge of how we are going to transition. And that's why countries like Germany, for example, who decided not to use nuclear power, they are continuing to use fossil fuels as well, despite their very strong commitments to climate change mitigation targets. So there's a technical problem, but then there's also a livelihood and political problem with countries like India who feel that they need to develop their economies and they need fast energy sources to do so. So they have been resistant, also claiming that they have not contributed to climate change, and why do they have to then take drastic measures? China has made a similar argument. The good news, some glimmer of hope there is that some of the major Indian investors, especially the Adani and the Ambani family, they are now making green energy one of their big plays. And they have decided that they're going to go full on with solar power, particularly in India. So there is some glimmer of hope. And on the sidelines of COP26, they held meetings to indicate that that's their next trajectory.
The EU and US are blocking the creation of a separate loss and damage fund. It's being demanded by island nations, and it's got the backing of a coalition of 134 countries, and that includes China. What is each side saying there?
Well, this commitment was made more than a decade ago at COP15 in Copenhagen. There was the Green Climate Fund, which was set up, and the commitment was $100 billion. So this is not a new commitment, but the countries never met that original commitment. So I think the developing countries are right to say that you are not even keeping your previous commitment and you need to really step up. I think the main hindrance is domestic politics. When we have so many other priorities, like in the US, you have this massive $1.3 trillion infrastructure bill. People are saying, well, how are we going to also contribute towards development assistance with all these other investments? Same story in many other countries like Australia, as well as parts of Europe. So I think there's a real challenge of financing because there are domestic pressures for investment instead, competing for the same taxpayer dollars.